Let's see
Live.
here. We're live. All right. Welcome to America. Well, what was left of it. And if you've watched The Walking Dead, you saw the thumbnail. This is full-on invasion. And The Walking Dead, specifically the first 2 seasons, predicted everything that's going on because all the people running around got this, infection. They got this something wrong with them. It depleted the major cities. Major cities fell into decline. And then this traveling horde of zombies, doctors and lawyers, were coming through all the neighborhoods, stealing everything. And I think that's where we start off tonight. JT, what's your take on this?
The shocking part is you saw something we talked about before we got on air. New York Post posts an article about the federal government suing Texas for wanting to defend their own border. Well, Texas should sue the federal government. That's their job, is border in the military. That is the job. But, Commerce Clause, long story, but I just don't get it. I do get it. I don't want to accept it. I'm in denial. I'm still in denial that the Democrats just like, there's not a border problem. What are you talking? Mayorkas gets up there. There is no border problem in front of Congress. I'm like, what are you talking about? And I experienced it. You see the videos on Twitter, people going through airports. You see that. I didn't even tell you this. I'm leaving Phoenix Airport. I'm there at 4:00 in the morning, of course, waiting like cattle to get through TSA. There's one TSA line, but that's not the point. The point is to say people with emergency blankets covering themselves in the airport. Darker than me, obviously. Clear bags, about 8x11 kind of thing, bags with papers in them. Everybody's got the emergency blanket. Everybody's got the clear bags.
Okay.
With papers. And they're all looking wild-eyed and getting led around by minders going right through security. No TSA, no body scan, no thumb up the ass, none of that.
What?
And I went to get my phone out, okay? So it's 4 a.m. I'm there before 4. TSA doesn't only start, but there's one person on pre-check. It's a whole hassle. So let me get that out of the way. I'm going to get my phone, and a TSA dude starts screaming at me. I haven't even gone through yet because they're just going right through. And I was so infuriated. I about lost myself. I'm not getting on the plane if I do that. I'll be arrested, of course, because both directions, my stuff got ripped apart every direction to Sunday, and then tinfoil hat ensues. I'm going, wow, this tweeting thing might be getting me in trouble. Everything got ripped apart, top to bottom, both directions. And my backpack had like camera stuff.
Wow.
Laptop, nothing.
Yeah.
Both ways. They ripped it all apart. They threw it back together. Do you want to put it back together? I'm like, thank God, whatever the VA gave me this time, I didn't lose it. Cause I'm like, I'm about to lose my shit. As these fucking people walk right through. You see the video, and you go, it's not real until you see it with your own eyes at 4 a.m. in Phoenix Airport, real time. And I get my phone out. I'm like, I'm gonna get this, man. Breaking news.
Wow.
Like, screaming. It comes out of nowhere, yelling at me. Some ex-army guy, you could just tell, and I was like sitting there going, oh my God.
Man, that's nuts.
Yeah,
I mean, like you said, you see it on the news and it doesn't hit home.
You think it's rare. It hit home when you see people with emergency blankets on the Phoenix Airport. What's going on here? Side of the airport. And you look at them and you see lots of them, and there's minders, and they all have the exact same clear plastic, like kind of like you put papers in. I don't know what to called. They're already Ziploc bags. And I go, it's right there. They bust them up. I've seen it on Twitter. So I'm over time, but that was eye-opening.
Well, I tell you what, I'm going to show you this. And you mentioned everybody's favorite person. So let me just show this real quick. Let's see here.
Testimony that the border is secure.
The president have worked very, very hard to implement a strategy when it comes to the border that is humane, safe, and has orderly enforcement.
Things are going at the border, sir.
Much better than you all expected.
We have a secure border in that is a priority for any nation, including ours and our administration.
We have responded with a model approach that has proven to work.
We have taken unprecedented action over the past year and a half to secure our border.
And we have a process in place to manage migrants at the border. We're working to make sure it's safe and orderly and humane.
The border is closed.
We agree that the border is secure.
We're executing a comprehensive strategy to secure our borders.
One of our highest priorities.
Here's the thing about that. people know what's going on. It's not like a shocker, right?
Yeah, those are our leaders.
I really think, I'm talking about normal average Joe, leftist.
Yeah.
But I really think the pendulum swung so far, they just don't care. Until it affects them directly.
Yep.
To their child, their kid, themselves, whatever. Nothing's going to happen. And
yep.
You see it, and you don't think the second, third tier consequences because people are morons.
Yeah.
That affects your schools, the budget, and they don't have kids. Okay, well, it's going to affect you. They're going to need more money. They're going to demand more money. English as a second language, ERs. I want to get your take, but I've seen that, and they lie. And now it's like you can catch the lie. Somebody see on Twitter finds it. Boom. Second two, they post it, and you go, they're lying.
Yeah.
People go, well, whatever. I can't. I don't get it.
I'll tell you what infuriated Democrats the most. This is just my opinion. When they lost control of Twitter, average people became able to share exactly what you saw. When Jack Dorsey was in charge of Twitter, you weren't allowed to see these things. You were not allowed to look behind the curtain. The wizard was behind the curtain and nobody knew about him. But now that Twitter has become unveiled, and I can go on about Elon not being great, but this is the one thing it's lifted the veil on. And all of this now, just like you've mentioned numerous times before, the news is Twitter. The news is real-time Twitter. Fox News has its lowest yearly rating since 2015. And part of it is because of platforms like us, Twitter, other people out there. We're not the best. We're not the worst. Other people are sharing information, and more people are turning to people like us because you know how much a gallon of diesel is. I know how much a 50-pound bag of field pellets are for a cow, a bale of hay. I know how much a gallon of gas is. And just like you were going to get your camera and film that in the Phoenix airport, I think Phoenix or Denver. I can't remember what Phoenix. You were going to share that, and you were going to peel a little layer of the onion off. The onion's gone now. And Biden, Kamala, Mayorkas, Karine Jean-Pierre, all of these people have now, I don't say they're held accountable because nobody's holding them accountable. They're the ones that should be holding people accountable, but they are playing with us. And like you said, until something happens, I want to know why Governor Abbott, if he wants to be amazing, send people to D.C., dump them off right in downtown D.C., Pennsylvania Avenue, baby, 2600 Pennsylvania Avenue. That's where you dump them off. That's where you get results.
I wanted to share this, and I'm looking at it. I posted on Locals. It says American births versus illegal immigrants. For the first time in history, we've got more illegal immigrant encounters. Okay, we're just talking encounters, not getaways.
Yep.
Then we have births.
Yep.
And you can't, let's say they were all perfect. Let's just say they were high school educated, perfect people. We don't have the capacity to, assimilate all those people at once with infrastructure. You see what happens in New York City, the biggest cities in the country, Chicago, they can't assimilate them. Just say they're all perfect. They want to work. They want to go to the hospital and go to school. Let's assume that. But they can't assimilate them. So how can Brownsville, Texas, Paducah, Kentucky, Pound, Virginia, assimilate those people? Now, we understand if you're great in Guatemala, you don't leave Guatemala. This is what it is. I know Guatemalans who are high up. They're the light-skinned, blue-eyed Guatemalans, we'll call it.
Yeah.
They don't leave Guatemala. You go to visit, and they have servants. They've got it made, right? But you see that statistic, and I should have sent it to you in advance, and it shows by month. And it shows from when Trump took over to Biden took over, and the gap it went from wide gap to just exceeding. That's just encounters.
Yeah.
That is not getaways.
Yeah.
So you hear people use the term. I even said our theory one time, just say whatever, replacement theory. Yeah, I heard that. I did a video. I said, well, I don't know. Just you hear the term, right?
Yeah.
And I go, it's not about that. It's just we can't assume all these people who don't come here are literate in their own language. Most of them. I mean, that's the bottom line.
Yeah.
You see, write in Spanish. They can't write a complete sentence in Spanish. No less this high-tech economy. Remember, learn to code, bro, with the coal mines.
Yep.
What do we do now with these people? And we don't have the economy like we did. They go back to the 20s. I love that. And they said, well, look, you're immigrants. Ron DeSantis immigrant family came from Italy. Different world, man. My family came in the same period of time, 1916, 17, work on the railroad from Sweden, Norway. That's what it was. There's no Social Security. There's no welfare, Medicaid, food stamps, all these things. There's no fallback plan. Fallback plan was you went back to where you came from. At some point in times, we had net migration out of the country. People couldn't make it. Churches took care of them, and the whole thing flipped on its head. But I could go on for a long time with that rant. I just don't know if people care enough to do anything. Therein lies the problem, to do anything. Because they care briefly on Twitter, I stand with. And I'm so, don't get me started. When I saw that at Phoenix, I told my wife, and she had like exclamation points in, whatever you do in the text. And I'm just like, this is very real. I was shocked. It was 4 a.m. I'm waiting, getting heard and yelled at by TSA because the pre-check line wasn't open. And I go, they just walked right through. What? And they were getting on planes. Now I was going to Atlanta. There was a few on the Atlanta plane who just walk in. They're like shocked. They're like, oh my God, what's going on? They just get on the plane. Not all of them were on my plane, but they were going Phoenix to Atlanta. There was enough. But fortunately, I like to ride nice. I was in first class. I'm not sitting back there with the plebes.
Oh, hell no. Well, I'm going to show you one person that cares. She cares a lot.
Often people want to say, why aren't you talking about the border crisis? Or why aren't you talking about it in this way? Well, we're talking about it. They just don't like how we're talking about it because it's not a border crisis. It's an imperialism crisis. It's a climate crisis. It's a trade crisis. This is not a surge. These are children and they are not insurgents and we are not being invaded, which, by the way, is a white supremacist idea, philosophy.
Right.
How many kids were in the line? How many kids did you see?
I didn't see any children. I saw it actually, I saw them just so incidentally.
Yeah.
So I was walking to the TSA before you go through get to the gate part, you're checking in. And I see them looking at the television. I look and I go, double take, because I got up at 3:30, get there by 4. And I go, what is going on? I look and I go, that's what I've seen on Twitter. There they are. Because they all have the exact same thing, like school kids. They were all men. I didn't see any women.
I have not seen any women.
I didn't see any children. You figure what happens is they come to the Arizona border and they bus them up to Phoenix, which is the closest airport. And then they just ship them. I don't know. Some got on the Atlanta flight. The flight was so big that I saw a couple men and they're all like little tiny, just 30-year-old, 25-year-old.
I'm going to show this clip while you're talking. And people can see exactly what it is. I've got it muted. You can this is at Eagle Pass, Texas. I don't see any kids. You see any kids?
No, that's over. They don't even care about that grift anymore.
No.
About saying, oh, look, it's Lupe with her 3 children. Her husband died from MS-13. They don't even care about that anymore.
No.
That's off the table. Now it's just like, now they've shifted, right? Because of climate. Because of imperialism, because of this, because of that. Whites are 7% of the world. Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to start with that white imperialism. I just can't. You see this,
Wait,
and
there's
I'm sure
a woman. I saw one woman right there. I saw one woman right here, kind of fat, looks very malnourished. Like
the women are getting caught up into domestic works, the sex trafficking. I mean, they get shipped off into something else. Oh, these guys have a business. I'm sure they're told, here's what you're going to do. Here's your reminder. We will find you. You owe us. Because not all of them can fly from Sudan to Mexico City. You start doing the math, 15, 20 grand from the cartels. They're paying back one or the other.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. People need to wake up. People need to wake up. And I think, like you said, until it affects their daily life, until Karen gets cut off at Starbucks, she doesn't give a shit. Until Karen gets caught off in the school drop-off line and can't make it to yoga class, she doesn't care. But as soon as it affects Karen, we're done. It'll be finished.
We could use Israel and Palestine right now.
Yeah.
Prime example. How many people has Egypt, Jordan, and Lebanon let in their country from Palestine?
0.
I think there was 80 in total. And they were probably like top scientists or something, top makers of explosives.
Nuclear engineers.
They have let in nobody, 0 people. And so that's their border policy. Our border policy is, we paid for Jordan's border, by the way, is we let in nobody.
Yep.
We're supposed to, I don't care if they're all Irish or they're all German. you can't say Russia anymore, but you pick a country. I don't care.
Yeah.
We can't afford them.
No
places to put them. We're already, this economy is going to tank hard. We can't have the stock market like it. This makes no sense. And most people don't own stock of substance. I would say like 80% of the people don't own any stock.
Yeah, you're
Not even
right.
a 401k plan. The stock market's all make believe to people. You know, if you got your 401k, you're not seeing it anyway, so they'll tank it later and you'll be done. What's the next topic? I don't want to make.
They're very highly trained taxi drivers coming across the border. That's all I got to say.
Well, here we go. Phoenix. Last thing. Phoenix, like San Francisco, this is called Waymo. Like it sounds, okay?
Okay.
Driverless cars everywhere. These driverless cars, which are replacing Ubers.
Wow.
So a lot of times no one's in them. Like they're just, I'm next to a car, I look over, no one's in the car. Like
nobody. My God.
And periodically you see somebody in the front seat next to the passenger seat, but no one's driving. So this Uber, Lyft, it's all going to be, it's in San Francisco. I saw it in August, all over Phoenix. I was talking to my parents on the phone. I look over, see one. I'm like, okay, I saw one. Next thing you know, within a 3-minute conversation, I saw 5. You can't miss them. They have a big thing on the top. They say Waymo. They're all driving Jaguars, and they all speed from the stop like a 15-year-old driving with mom, like they haul ass.
Oh, like real
16-year-old got in the car. They zing. I went, wow, these people are hauling ass. Well, there's no one in the car, right?
That's too funny. Too funny.
There's no Uber jobs and Lyft jobs. Those are gone. I could say all big cities are going to have Waymo in a year.
What the hell are they going to do? I don't know what they'll do.
They're going to just get UBI. Because, again, Cloward and Piven, they're just going to break it. And people are going to beg for it. They're going to be in the cities. They're going to beg for more subjugation and say, you need internet ID.
It's funny you bring up universal basic income. Remember Chang? I think his name was Chang. Wasn't it Chang? He was pushing the universal basic income, the Asian guy that ran for president last time. And he was the Asian guy that ran against
like a moderate Democrat. We'll call it moderate.
Yeah. He was wanting universal basic income.
Yeah, he was on Tim Pool. I mean, you could just give reparations to $10 million. You could do universal basic. You can make all these things up. What else do we have to do to help poor people in this country? It's the working poor that get screwed. The people make enough money to make 80 grand between husband and wife. They got 3 kids.
Yeah.
I'm going to call that working poor by today's standards because everything's outrageous.
Yeah.
Like I look at it now, I've been retired and I had to work for a living. I look back and I go, I don't know what I do because my money's evaporating.
Yep.
And I was making that fat YouTube cash. I was kind of spending like a drunken sailor, but now I'm going, man, I can't afford, but I could, growing up poor, for me, I could go backwards. I had the big house, I had the cars, sold all that, was traveling. And I was like, I want something simple, but I just look at it from a 25-year-old standpoint.
Yeah.
220, like I'm my first kid at 25. And I go, and their mother stayed at home. She was a stay-at-home mom. My eldest is 26. Do that math. I owned a house. I wasn't making sick money, but I bought a house that was like 40 years old. It was dated 40 years. Did all the remodel myself with my dad. And we didn't expect a lot. I don't think you could do that now where people don't want to live in it. It wasn't a bad area even. It just was an older area.
Yep.
In Florida, on the coast. It wasn't on the beach or anything, but what else is next? I don't want to ramble too much, but
well, you talked a little bit about the Texas lawsuit. That just pisses me off. The federal government's overstepping the bounds. We can hit that
Delta,
real quick.
Man. Send in SEAL Team 6 and Delta to protect the Sudanese lawyers and doctors to fight the Texas National Guard.
Yeah, I agree. So we covered Texas. We hit the border. The traveling horde is here. Get ready. Lock your doors. If you're for open borders, I want all of you to have bunk beds in every room in your house, and you should let them in. And if you don't, you're Schmittler and you're a hypocrite. So there you go.
You're literally Schmittler.
You're a literally Schmittler. Let's talk about some ballot issues. We got Colorado kicked Trump off. Apparently Trump's back on. And now we got Maine saying Trump's off. And now someone in the state Senate there has brought up articles of impeachment against the Secretary of State, who is also a huge donor. And all these secretaries of state have photos with Joe Biden on the campaign trail. What do you think about that?
Well, I think there's going to be at least a dozen states that do it in some fashion. Now think about it. You just keep doing it, knowing it's going to get shot down. It sucks up a lot of press time. I don't know if Trump's posted anything outside of this topic or talked about anything or Vivek's come up and said something. Anybody's come up and said something could be interesting. Nikki Haley could have had something good. I don't know because the news cycle is jammed up with Maine. And then you see the pictures with her She's like, I'm totally not biased, just like the New York Letitia James, who's up on Twitter like a Twitter. Maybe I blocked her or muted her because I couldn't take it anymore. Like, Trump can't talk about it, but she's Twitter active. I mean, literally activism as a federal, not federal prosecutor, but the state attorney general. I'm going, what are you doing? This is like, I've never seen such things. But this generation who grew up with Obama in politics, it was vitriol and hate. Like I said to somebody the other day, I go, do you remember what flying was like before 9/11? They're like, no. I go, it's great. I ran to the airport, hopped on, done, bought a ticket, went to the airport, bought a ticket, got on, boom, done. Got off the airport. My family was there. Came off deployment. Guess what? Girlfriend's at the gate, my family. And now we got, I mean, you get, I guess my point is you get used to something.
Yeah.
You're used to this Obama. Now people are so used to the phone. They don't remember what it was like before not seeing news constantly. I think there's going to be at least a dozen of them. I think a couple will go into the tail, go to the Supreme Court and just muddy everything up. And then it'll get blamed on the non-left. So Democrats blame somebody for something not working and be like Hillary saying, election was stolen. Hillary Clinton said that 2016. I go, but yet if you question it, and I was in Georgia listening to something. I just have no more patience for this. I really feel like I'm watching a slow motion car crash with Biden being the president again, because there's so many things coming Trump. I don't know how you can get people's attention who vote to get them to come out and not just go, I'm done with this. I can't do Trump just because he brings drama to the table.
Yeah.
So they're hoping Biden wins, and then they go, well, I'll deal with it next time. They don't realize what next time means. We will have 50 million in. There's probably 40 million now undocumented.
Oh, yeah.
Engineers.
Easily 3 to 4 times what they're saying. Yeah.
They've been saying 10 million for the last 4 decades.
Oh, yeah.
You know, when Teddy Kennedy convinced Ronald Reagan. Anyway, it's your turn. Go.
No. I got that written down about Reagan signing in amnesty for
Teddy
all of
Kennedy's
you that love
like
Reagan.
Amnesty one time, bro.
Reagan signed it all in. He said some of them were good people, even if they came here illegally. That's Ronald Reagan. I hate Ronald Reagan for 2 things: his amnesty and closing insane asylums. We could use both of those back now.
Gun laws.
Yep, gun laws.
They changed gun laws radically.
Overnight.
Radically. And they blamed it on Miami. Radically changed gun laws.
Yeah. I mean, the whole Secretary of State thing, removing people, after seeing Fox News' ratings declined, I think the media, the lamestream news, needs Trump back because they made more money than ever when Trump was in office. I mean, no one knew who Brian Stelter was, Jim Acosta was before Trump. Nobody knew who those guys were.
Jim Acosta.
Yeah. Nobody knew who White House reporters were before Trump, and now they're household names. Everybody knows who Peter Doocy is. Everybody. Nobody knew who the press secretary was. It was just, hey, trot some pretty face out there, right? Dana Perino was George Bush's spokeshole. She's on Fox. The media needs Trump back because most of the advertisers on news are left. And if only the left is watching them, they don't really stimulate anything. It's an echo chamber. I think they need Trump back. I think they're going to pull out some strings more than the 24-hour news coverage they have for him to get him back. That's just me. That is just me spitballing. But I think
after
the news media needs
COVID,
them.
they saw how powerful the media is.
Oh,
Even
yeah.
like a CNN, MSNBC, all the networks. You know, I'm not a Fox fan, but they're the only one that deviates a tad. They saw how quickly they could take something like this with no testing, no side effects, 100% safe and effective. People go, I'll take it. I'm like, wow. And so now they realize, just spin it up, man. Spin it up. And TikTok, they go, TikTok's a problem. I know it's not. The short form content where somebody get popular quick, so it's like a lottery. People get addicted. They go, wow, I got 500,000 views on TikTok, and people are running towards it. But Meta will pick it up. YouTube will pick it up.
Yep.
That base of users is worth billions and billions of dollars. So anyway.
Well, that brings it right into the next topic. And I've got a list here. Me and JT don't talk during the week, like very cryptic text messages. We've got a couple of spitballing topics, and this brings up the next one. You hit on it with the pandemic that was rolling around. Pfizer disclosed their profits for the year. For the year, their profits are down 44%. I'll leave it. I'll drop this one to you right now. What do you think that means?
Sounds very familiar, like the Clinton Foundation donations in 2017.
Yeah.
I mean, now I did see the Clintons were in the Caribbean.
Oh yeah.
So I said, somebody's going to get Arkansas-ed where they've got a suicide with 2 gunshot wounds to the back of the head.
Hung and shot in the chest.
Suicide.
Yep.
Yeah, that'll be one of those things. But you see this, it is amazing that people don't seem to care. And that's a bigger one than all the doctors coming from Guatemala.
Oh yeah.
That's a big one, but that happened to them. Now, a lot of people don't get affected. There was a website called like My Hot Batch or Hot Batch or something like that. Yeah. And it tracked the VAERS reports all over.
Yep.
Some people got really, my wife, first time she got really sick, young, healthy woman. Other people did nothing. So, and even if it did nothing overall, when would you consume something? It's like going to the club and saying, oh, this is, pick the club drug, and you just take it and you hope it's going to give you, but this was different. This is no good time. This was like
3 out of 5 drinks on the bar have a roofie in it. You take one, right?
Just take one. And
you're
like,
just take one.
Okay. Cause they got people so wound up. I think they saw that, they being leadership, saw what they can do, and was like, we can do anything now. If we're willing to get somebody to take an injection into their body with very little information. I know it's the safest, legalist. No, not safe, legal. That's abortion. I know it's 100% safe and effective.
Yep.
YouTube. If they can make you do that, they can make you do anything. They can say Dr. Levine was Woman of the Year 2021 with a straight face and make you say Tess Holliday is anorexic. They can make you do anything, and they will lead you around and you will follow.
Yeah.
Until people grab a hold of their balls, men or women, grab a hold and say, no more, no mas.
Yep.
We are done. And I really think the pendulum's changed so far. I don't know if it's going to happen. I think we're just trying to pick the bones and keep your head down. That's what you do in this society we're living in. Now it's going to be slow grind, but that's what I got.
I got my Biden Harris shirt on, baby. I'm blending in. Gray man right here. Gray man, Biden Harris. I don't want to draw any attention to myself. My take on Pfizer's profits going down 44%. This tells me we're going to see a few less Travis Kelce commercials on TV. Mr. Vaccine. We're going to see a little less of him. 44% drop in profits. People that invest in Pfizer want results. And the only way you get results when you're producing what they produce is have a reason to produce that. And we all have seen a few sprinklings of people walking around like train robbers again. I would say expect the expected, because it's not unexpected anymore. It is not unexpected. It is planned. It's election season, and election season, people cough, they get runny noses. Your grandma depends on you to go and do this stuff. And like you said, it's safe, effective. You've got to do it. And if you love your grandmother, if you love your mom, if you love your neighbor, if you love everyone, you have to do it. If you don't,
remember,
you're a xenophobe.
And though it's now on the kids scheduled vaccination for
That's
children.
right.
So it's going to spike back up.
And I'm sure all of the doctors and lawyers coming through the southern border, they're getting swabbed and tested as they crawl under the razor wire. They're getting the swab. They're getting cleared. And if you're good, you go here. And if you're not, you also go there. And if you have everything, you go there. I mean, the people coming here are from countries that have Ebola. Ebola is a real thing where these people live. That is a real thing.
But let's say you're a Mexican national. Why didn't Mexico force it, or India? Because Mexico didn't give carte blanche, free liability.
No, they didn't. No.
That is a big deal. India, nothing.
Yeah.
They were getting out the horse paste.
Yep.
They said, hey, we'll take it, but we want to see some test studies here done on our people. And Pfizer said, nope, no, we're not doing it. So you can't give it to Mexican nationals and have just unlimited liability like you've got with Americans. There's also a huge difference.
Just a little bit of Google search. Japan just came out with a report detailing a lot of things that are very enlightening. And I won't go into it here, but you should just do a little bit of Googles. Maybe not Google. Use the Brave browser, and you'll see it all. And it's all Japan. That's all I got for that.
Here's the test, though, Ben.
Yeah.
My wife, since she's a doctor, like I'm doing a Ben Shapiro, but this is important. She's got to get the flu shot every year and prove it, or she's got to wear a mask. That's been a thing forever with physicians, okay? She gets it. No big deal.
My body, my choice.
Guess what she doesn't have to get? The
flu
COVID.
Shot?
No. The COVID poke. She's got to get the flu shot. Everybody does. That's been going on since I can remember.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah.
You have to get the flu shot and wear the mask.
Yeah.
So she's got to show a proof of it, right? But she does not have to get the Rona poke. That's not one you have to get annually. So they haven't forced physicians. Now, she had in the beginning to work at the hospital she worked at the time, University Hospital. She had to get the poke, and she was in the Army. So you were getting the poke one way or the other.
Yeah.
And there was no way around it. Now, recently, last year, well, this year still, she was getting all of her meds checked up when she was at Fort Carson. Like, hey, do all these vaccinations and all this stuff. And it was transferring. And they didn't make her get a booster for the Rona. And this was Fort Carson. They were going through everything, right? All the stuff to make sure, because she was injured. So she got all this free time basically between rehabs. And so it's interesting they're not pushing it, but they're pushing on children.
Yeah. Next up, what about the Republican governor in Ohio? Just basically said children can get whatever surgeries they want, below the age of 18. Did you see that in the news? Republican governor today?
Commented, yeah, I did see that.
Deween, I think is his name is.
Yeah, Dewine. I did see an approval. Somebody got the Adam's apple shaved, all this shaving done. I think it was Blue Cross.
Yeah.
Posting on locals, a whole list. Somebody was like happy who got it. It's like, oh, I got proof of all this stuff done. So insurance companies, thank you, Obamacare. We got to sign it to see what's in it. Nancy Pelosi said that.
Yep.
Tell you what's in it. The federal government dictates what's covered if you want to be a healthcare plan. Yep. So now you, the working family, who don't use their plan much, because I can tell you my premiums, I had 2 kids, a great plan, PPO, Blue Cross before Obamacare was $750 a month. After Obamacare, and we never used it. No change to speak of. It went to $1,500 and the benefits suck. So what do I think? Well, most of these Republican governors are rhinos. And the thing is, the left won't vote for Devine anyway. They'll find something he did wrong.
Yeah.
So him going, I mean, the thing is, there was Sean Ryan had on his podcast. They had Chief Beck came on, the VA lauded Chief Beck, CNN, I'm transitioning, all that. Chief Beck brought up something good, said when he did it, you had to go 30 times to a therapist in a year. You had to dress up for a year. Before, try it out. Let's just try this out before you go crazy with it. And now his story. But I guess my point is they don't do that anymore. On Winston Blair, the YouTube channel, I've had a bunch of people, a girl from Montana, can't remember her name. She went in first visit and got testosterone at a higher dose than you and I could get if we went in there and said, hey, our Johnson's not working right. I'm tired. I'm gaining weight. They'd go, no, it's bad for your prostate, sir. No.
Yeah.
The VA, you walk in, you're like, hey, I want my junk to work better. They're like, oh, no, absolutely not. But yet, when I was in Seattle VA, you're taking a picture of it. They had all this stuff about transition care for veterans, everything. Seattle VA, like a big thing. Now, in the Johnson City VA, I'm lost going through trying to find the MRI place. And this woman's got her thing on, the lariat, whatever. What do you call those things?
Lanyard,
with all the stuff, right?
Yeah.
Not a veteran, because they wear that at the VA. And she had below that pronouns on the name thing.
Oh, nice.
Now, very nice woman. I think there was like she, they or something. And I go, and I'm lost in this place going, am I losing my mind? It was like 5:30 on a Friday or something. I'm going to get an MRI for 2 hours. But the Seattle one was the best. I was so taken off by it. This was summer before last. I was so taken back by it when I saw it. I'm like, what is that? I can barely. I was going to the dentist. So you know what dental is?
Yeah.
Very few people are in there. So dental's kind of a cushy, sweet deal. And I'm coming out like, what is this sign for? And it's, VA. Just you want to shave your Adam's apple? You want to take some hormones?
Yeah.
Should be like tell a woman who's a vet, hey, can you say you want some testosterone so I can get it for free? That's it.
Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah. I think you nailed it. I really think you nailed it. The Democrats will come out against this Republican governor. Well, he's a rhino governor. That's a new breed of political party, rhino governor. And he has come out allowing children under the age of 18. Parents can't do anything about it. Right in the center of Ohio, one of these, the heart of America, that kind of thing. Right. And I used to be surprised when Republican governors did something like this. Now I'm not. I mean, I'm really not. I mean, what's the capital of Ohio? Is it Columbus? I think it's right in the center. University, Ohio State. Everybody's much smarter than us. They've got people walking around like Jeffrey Marsh telling them, basically, if you're a kid and you don't have a family, come live with me. That's exactly what's going on. If we've got anybody in the chat living in Ohio, what do you think about it? What is it? How does it make you feel? I'll be the social worker.
East Palestine, Ohio.
Yeah.
Then whatever.
Yeah.
Palestine will help. East Palestine or whatever it was.
Yeah. With the train wreck.
Just fine to drink, buddy. Just sip on it. You'll be fine.
Yeah, you're exactly right. If you're in Ohio, how does it make you feel? I'll be your social worker. That's what my social worker my psychiatrist used to always say. How does it make you feel? Well, it makes me feel like I'm being railroaded as an American. That's how it makes me feel. How does it make you feel if you're in Ohio? I mean, it's disgusting what's going on.
Side rant with it. You talk to the VA head psychiatrist. You talk to him, right? And they ask you these questions. You ever feel like, punching somebody verbally? Yeah. And then I go, doesn't everybody feel that way? She's like, no, that's not normal. I go, what do you mean it's not normal?
Yeah.
And I want to say, I think it's just part of being a grown-up man. I don't do it. I don't act on it often. Well, when I was a young Marine, I did, but I don't do it now. And she's like, okie dokie. Mood disorder,
they make a note of that one. Yeah. Put a little code by your name.
Mood disorder, check. And you got to check. Oh, I love this. Before we get to the next topic. I don't know what I said in my switch VA primary places, right? And this guy was pretty thorough. And he asked about exposure to chemicals, toxins, and I don't know. I said, yeah, of course. And I went through a list of what I remembered, and I said, I don't remember everything. So I've hit my head more than, half a dozen times on record where I, bottom line, they sifted through my records and they go, I should have said this to you, Ben. They go, you may be eligible based on your exposure to these things for VA benefits. I'm like, oh, really? You're sending me this letter? I'm already 100%, bro. Do you not see?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I got the letter. I'm like, what is the VA sending me? I open it up and I go, based on what you told your doctor and these things in your chart. Then it was like a bunch of form letters behind it.
Yeah.
I go, this is our government sending this to me in the post because they can't connect the two. I know one's VBA and VB, whatever I'm like, this is great. What else you got?
Next up, let's see. Nikki Haley, Civil War gaffe. Are you concerned? Do you care? Does it matter? Does anything Nikki Haley say matters?
How do you mess that up? You just address it. It was horrific. And slavery was a bad thing. We've covered this ad nauseum as a country. The non-slaves, there's 600,000 dead in the Civil War. We gave up a lot of blood, people fighting. So I don't want to cover it in this venue, but you can check my prior statements. It's easy to fix, right? Like if you ask me about it, I'd say I think it's been covered at length. But for the record, I think it was horrific. We had slaves and we fought over it, killed lots of citizens who weren't slaves. So that's all I got. We don't need to talk about today, I don't think, right? Except the Uyghurs or except the slave trade in North Africa. But except for that. But she can't. How do you mess that up? Like if you ask me a question on point, I know where you're going with it. My brain clicks and I go, okay, here's the answer I got to give because I'm a politician. I don't know how you mess that up. But like Ron DeSantis, they can spin it. He says something. They go, Ron DeSantis said some slaves were better off in slavery. And I did drill down and see what he said. And I'm like, how could you mess that up? You guys are trained liars.
Yeah.
You're paid liars. How do you mess up when you're a paid liar? Did you not take your Adderall before that meeting? I mean, give me a break. People are stupid.
Yeah. I don't know if you got anything else on that, but I got 2 points to make on Nikki. Number one, the Civil War started in South Carolina, right? Fort Sumter, South Carolina. That's where the first real fire was. Number two, Nikki Haley, this is her Charlottesville moment. She'll never get away from this. She will never get away from it. This ended her little run. And I'm a firm believer that if I used to work in politics, I was a lobbyist. I know how these things work. And these politicians are coached on what if. They're drilled down questions. Someone lost the plot because they should have said, look, if you get a question that turns you around, especially about slavery, Kamala Harris's grandparents sold slaves in Jamaica. Bring that up. Number 2, name me one Republican slave owner. Okay. There's one. There is actually one Republican slave owner. His name was Ulysses S. Grant, and his wife had a slave whenever they got married. And then he let that slave go and then ended slavery for the rest of America. So that's where she could have went with this. She could have also went with, well, the last 4 states to end slavery were all Democrat states. So how she missed, I mean, they gave her a softball. They gave her a big red ball that she could have hit 35 miles. It would have been a home run. And she swung and missed. She looked like Stevie Wonder at a quinceañera missing the piñata. I mean, she just missed so many times. It was pitiful. And Nikki, now she'll be called Nimrata, as in Nimrod, because she's an idiot. She missed it. She absolutely missed it. This is Charlottesville 2.0 for Nikki. BLM, they'll never support her for this. Never. And she could have flipped it around on Kamala, the Democrats, everyone. So quick. She would have garnered support. That's all I got. Nikki's done. She's toast. Let's see here. What do we got next?
Good.
Oh, this is a good one for you. You sent me a text about it. You sent me the text about how we should take advice. Oprah Winfrey just endorsed John Fetterman. That was a tweet from 2022. And then right underneath it, it said, billionaires don't give an F about 99.9% of us. Please stop listening to them. Do you think Oprah would pull her endorsement of Fetterman with what Fetterman's doing right now?
What is he doing? Supporting coal? Pretend? Is that
pretend coal and the border closing? Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. If you support something, your party could say, listen, hey, John, you say you support this. We'll still back you. You'll still get money. And we'll look like we care as a party. But you know what's going to happen. So when it's like you're on the losing team or the winning team already, you can just play however you want. And I do think, like, you'll see a lot of votes where, for example, the vote's going to be a nay vote. But you vote yes because it looks good. You can go back. I tried, guys. But you knew the whole time the vote was going to be no. You wouldn't have voted the same way if it was a yes vote. So they do a lot of that politicking. And so Fetterman said, here's what got me Fetterman. When he sat there and the backdrop was a smokestack and he goes, I'm at my house. I go, nope. No, I lived in Pennsylvania. I lived there. I didn't live in Pittsburgh, but I lived near the factory that made the asbestos. Celebrex or whatever, not Celebrex, but I can't remember the name of it. It's Rivers of the Sea. Now, I knew a woman in her little walk up. You could see you could stay on a little crappy porch and you could see the smokestacks. But this was not like Fetterman saying he lives there. Are you kidding me? That was the biggest bunch of course shit. Now, he could say, I support the border. I want to secure the border to help you. The union people, because union people, what's happening? They're barking about it. He's got to say something. He knows nothing's going to happen. And they're not going to kick him to the curb. He'll still get DNC PAC money. So I think they do a lot of the shuck and jive like, I really care. It's like the heel. It's like WWE stuff. Like, I'll be the heel and I'll up you, whatever they call it. I'll make you look good.
I'll
be
over.
The heel, but, we still getting paid by the WWE in the end.
Yep.
That's all I got.
Yeah, I think the Fetterman gaffe, I don't really know if it's a gaffe. I think somebody said in the chat that
in his life. Let's be clear on that.
Yeah. Somebody said in the chat that Fetterman's brain injury is healing and he's becoming more conservative. That's kind of funny. It is very strange with what's going on with that. Taking advice from billionaires never works because they have people that make 10 times what I do and what you do, bringing them breakfast. They don't care. There's a disconnect. And the billionaires, they don't care. I mean, it is literally, they don't care. Like, how many people is Zuckerberg going to allow in his bunker, right? How many people is Oprah going to allow at her bunker that she's having built? There's such a disconnect, and they don't care. And taking advice from a billionaire is like taking advice from an NFL football player, taking, driving lessons from Stevie Wonder. It just doesn't work. It does not work. And if you take advice from celebrities, good luck. I mean, maybe, what was the guy that shot somebody recently? Alec Baldwin. I mean, he should be an NRA commercial, right? Or he should be endorsed by the NRA,
Yeah, he walked.
Yeah, exactly. So I just think it's funny when people are that dumb or that blind or that misled that you got to get on TikTok and check for advice from Oprah. Just avoid the celebrities at all costs. Avoid them. Make your own damn mind.
Well, it's like people about raising cattle, right? Run a cattle ranch. People go, "Oh, you're going to be out of town. Who's going to feed your cows?" I go, next question, please. It doesn't work that way. Winter it's different, as you know. You check on
you
hay
just
once
put out
in
a
a while,
couple bales of hay.
But I'm like, I don't have a dairy. What are you thinking? And then most people just don't know, right? And so you get into stuff like that. Sometimes when you've got politicians, some with the military,
yep,
and you sit there and go, okay, you have no idea what you're talking about. How the majority, they're talking about the Marine Corps, they're talking about the Commandant. Majority of the Marine Corps is 21 or under. So how does it affect them? Or you get people talking about a topic. I know they get like their interns, give them the information, they figure it out, they poll test it with their constituents and with their party. But it's hard for me to take them seriously. Like when douchebag said, I'm disconnected and I'm the enemy, a douchebag Navy guy. When the enemy is right in front of you, people are disconnected. Not the enemy, but people are disconnected. People are disconnected. We're sitting in the Congress, in the Senate, in the presidency, and all the brass. Anybody above colonel, all those people don't know anything you do. So it's funny because they have all these little groups, everything in common, fighting. All of us fighting over things. And they're just laughing at Davos. You're in politics, I had a good friend of mine, long story, who was in pretty big politics in Florida. Remember when George Bush, the young guy came and Lawton Childs and the whole thing, right? So we had he was a Republican. There's equal 50-50 Democrats, Republican at his house on the bay, looking out, couples of bottles of heavy scotch in. I'm watching. I'm a fly on the wall, sober as a judge. I'm like, these people are yucking up together. And this is way before the internet. Like I grabbed my phone. I go back the next day. The internet was there, but it wasn't the phones. I go back the next day and these two are at war.
Oh, yeah.
I just saw them yucking it up, talking about going to Vegas and hookers.
Yeah.
And they had gotten deep into a bottle like 1 a.m. And I was just kind of a fly on the wall because I did business with one of these guys, leave unnamed. And I was just like, wow.
Yeah.
Like I knew it happened. I believed it happened. But when I saw it in my heart of hearts, I go, wow, they're the Bushes with Jeb, George, the kid, all of them sitting there yucking it up with prominent, Democrats.
Yep.
Senate, Congress. There's some state people there, but I was like, wow, this is shocking. I was ready for them to break out lines and start snorting, but I missed that part.
You're absolutely right, though. I mean, the way it is, and it kind of shocked me as well. I mean, I've got a cousin that was into the wrestling thing, and going backstage and literally sitting backstage with Ric Flair and Ted DiBiase, Hulk Hogan, the Macho Man, all these names back there. And they're all just drinking beers and just sitting around and like rubbing down with Ben Gay and baby oil, right? Because of the lights. And they're putting on this like fake tan. And they pound in a couple of beers. Then they go out and they fight for 20 minutes. And then they come back and they're like, hey, Rick, you want to go to Applebee's tonight? And they're like, yeah, let's go to Applebee's. It was like that. It was crazy. And that's the way it is in politics. On TV, that's what gets fundraising. That's what gets money. Inciting some division gets money, gets you and I to donate, gets Granny to send money to the televangelists. I mean, politicians are basically televangelists Monday through Saturday. They don't work on Sundays. That's what it is. You stir it up. You do this altar call. I'm going to send you to a better place. If you send me your money, we'll make America heaven. That kind of thing, right? That's all it is. And they're all heels, but you got to have a heel to put the good one over. And I think maybe Vivek, maybe Nikki Haley were supposed to be the heel to put Ron DeSantis over. and he missed a move. He missed the clothesline. He missed the fall, and they didn't get a chance to put him over. And now the RNC is partnering with the Democrat Party, the DNC. Hey, our guy didn't get put over. We need you to pull the rug on this other guy. We need you to pull that maneuver. Our guy was supposed to win. Didn't happen. That's politics in a nutshell. I mean, I had some scotch and a cigar with Dan Quayle at an embassy in the UK years ago. He described politics so simple. We got to talking. It was amazing talking to a vice president about politics. And he said politics was monkeys and trees. If you're at the top looking down, all you see is smiling faces. If you're at the bottom looking up, all you see is assholes. That's politics. That was Dan Quayle. He couldn't spell potato, but he got that right. And looking back, it's the most brilliant explanation of politics at the simplest form. Chimpanzees, monkeys, and assholes. Next
Somehow
up,
or the other, we've allowed these people to become royalty.
Oh yeah,
we talked about that last time we were on, and I don't get it. Like Governor Christie, it's like you were a governor. What is it? Does it never end? Is there 25 governors?
Yeah,
I know Stacey Abrams is the governor of Georgia, but my Lord, what else we got?
Christie now, I think he wants to be the spokesperson for like Ozempic or Manjaro or something. I think that's his grift.
He'll raise
now.
$15 million and stick it in a slush fund and then go travel to Paris Climate Accord meetings and get 3 working girls. I mean, come on. You know how this works.
It is New Jersey, right? He'll close another bridge. That's all the topics I got. But the last thing I wanted to go forward, and then we'll jump into some of the comments, is what are your predictions for 2024? We're 2 days away. Yeah, 2 days, 3 days away from 2024. What are your predictions? What do you think? Big scheme. What's your thing going forward? I'll turn the timer off for this.
I think we have another drama.
See what you
think. Saw that MSNBC person come out and said we're gonna have a Black Swan event. I don't believe anything they say, but why wouldn't it? Was very effective before. Why wouldn't you just, like you talked about, if you got that same play, you're running off left tack, just keep running off it. Why wouldn't you do that? And they pumped out a few things, like you heard of the TSAs and started having masks in October. I was there. No one was wearing masks at TSA when I was in Phoenix or Atlanta. So that's gone. There's going to be something. And you keep seeing, trying to wrap us into Israel and Gaza, and everybody on Twitter's fighting about that nonstop. But you can see people of substance. They're talking about this over and over. I'm like, I really don't care. I'm not sorry at all. We are circling the drain. And our border, we're being invaded with people that even if they were the nicest people in the world, we don't have the jobs or the bandwidth for them.
No.
We are broke. And thrusting more money into the economy with the government, giving them money to spend is not going to help New York City, Chicago, because you see the mayors are complaining.
Yep.
Like, we can't take this anymore.
Yep.
And that's a city with a hospital on every third block.
Oh, yeah.
And now all of a sudden you're like, well, okay, what are we going to do here? I just don't know if the pendulum has swung too far. I still think deep down, if somebody says, I'm putting this pistol to your head, buddy, who do you think's going to win 2024? I think Biden wins. Going away. I think the midterms are weak. I've said that before. I don't think it's going to matter. If they can off JFK, they can arrest Trump. I mean, why not? They can time up legal battles. You saw what's happening with the court saying, hey, he can't talk politics as it relates to this court case. So they can relate anything to the court case. I mean, just never ending. So I hate to be a doomer. I mean, I really want to see a light. See the stock market being way overpriced, like radically overpriced.
Yep.
Just like I saw with crypto. You can't lose on crypto, bro. Like, I didn't really get it. Like, I kind of get it, but I just was like, I got other things to do. I got other ways to waste my money, and that wasn't one. A lot of guys made a fortune, but crypto, that was everywhere. Remember a year and a half ago? Every YouTube channel, crypto.
Oh, yeah, crypto.
Every big content creator is pitching it, gone.
Mm-hmm.
So I see a big event of some type. I hope it's not a Rona, but something. Whether it's a minor event, they spin into a big event. In other words, I hope it's not a big event, but the tidal wave in California, like, this is a rogue wave. It's climate change. I'm like, there's waves. Right. This happens all the time in places. You can look at the buoys. They'll have things going on.
The pothead surfers are happy as hell.
Whether it's big or is not the issue, but they can wind it up as something big, just like they did with the poke. What do you see?
2024, I'm going to play devil's advocate. I think the media is going to really ramp up the coverage for Trump, indirectly trying to get him kind of a boost, because the other three candidates don't carry the cloud following, and Trump supporters will never the only candidate that Trump supporters I think would acknowledge is Vivek. And I don't think Vivek has the presence to do anything long term. Rumor has it, coming out now, I got a friend that works in the Beltway, Trump has narrowed his 3 VP picks down to Ben Carson, Kristi Noem, and possibly Vivek. So who knows? I think he could do.
Deep down, I've met Kristi Noem. I'm not really.
I'm not a fan. She's pretty. She's pretty.
For lots of reasons that I probably shouldn't discuss here, but I'm just not a fan.
Yeah.
I think she was installed there. I want to like her. I really do. I think Vivek is powerful he's sharp.
Yeah.
But he's almost too sharp because he really knows his stuff. And I bet he can just rattle off.
He scares a lot of rhinos. He scares the rhinos is what he does.
He doesn't, I don't know. They show back policies where he said something a decade ago. He wasn't in politics. And I go, whatever. I mean, all these people being recorded nonstop. You can take a snippet of his life, like a wife abuser, the best husband in the world.
Yep. You're absolutely right.
That's a tricky thing. Yeah. Joe Biden talking about, I like Barack Obama. He speaks well and he's clean.
Yeah, he's clean.
What does
I remember
that mean?
Yeah, I remember he's clean.
Have you been to those 7-Elevens all run by Indians? Ha ha ha. And we're not talking 40 years ago.
Yep.
We're talking the last, 10, 15 years.
10, 12 years. Yeah.
People just go, well, it's just Joe, man, whatever. So I don't know. And I'm not around a lot of lunatics, but I'm around a lot of people who just go, I'm so burned out. I don't care anymore. Nothing's going to change. Trump brings so much drama to the table. I don't want Trump again because of drama. I'm like, well, okay. What does that mean exactly? So you're going to be a never Trumper like Ben Shapiro,
like there wasn't drama during Biden's presidency. Like there wasn't drama then,
Glenn Beck, all the never Trumpers.
Yeah.
I'm going to start with that, but bring that up now. They go, well, they like Trump now. I go, okay, but that was a big deal for people at their level to go, like, they know what's going on. They're like me, ham and egg. These people have been around the game and they realize, oh, the pendulum swung. I better get on this train here. I don't know how Ben promotes the poke. He was a never Trumper, and all of a sudden he just keeps reeling, man. People love that guy.
Yep. Let's get to some comments. I saw some really good comments here. Comment by Thomas Garrison. He's a vet. I know him. Arizona, Georgia, and Pennsylvania are now joining Texas and Florida in trying to remove Biden from the ballot. What do you think about that?
That never happens in Arizona. You got Katie Hobbs there. There's no way.
Georgia, Pennsylvania, Texas, Florida.
Well, it seems like Georgia is a no-go. I don't know. I hope Thomas is right. I don't know enough about that process because every state's a little different. But if the attorney general, like in Maine, can do it, Katie Hobbs, I don't know who's elected. Arizona used to be a red state, but Katie Hobbs wins Arizona. And I can't remember his name. In Georgia, what is it? Purdue? Governor?
It's not Purdue. What is it? Kemp.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he would have to get permission from the black girl with the gap in her teeth. He would have to ask permission.
I think if you try to do that,
yeah,
it's like you look like the big brother farting on little brother. For some reason, that still feels that way. Look at the Republicans. They're just doing Schmittler things. I'm like, they just did this to Colorado, Maine, and
Texas,
it'll come to
Florida
Michigan,
would be
sure, Wisconsin. Why not Ohio?
Bringing them off of Texas or Florida because the amount of electoral votes, that would be interesting. That would be.
I mean, until you start playing their game, until you start doing that,
yeah,
and you listen to like Saul Alinsky and you follow how they do it, it's the same exact thing. The playbook.
You're absolutely right.
Unless you get in the game, you were going to be steamrolled. You're playing 7-man football. They're playing 11-man football.
Yep,
you're going to lose.
Here we go. M-Dub says EU invasion 2.0. We all witnessed that with France, with the invasion that they had from Northern Africa, Djibouti, all these North African countries. We saw it on TV, never really thought it was going to happen here. How are all these African people traveling to South America, right?
You would paying for it.
Yeah, who is paying for it? That's exactly right.
I'll just give you the most simple example in the world. If you're a doctor in Cuba, you make like 120 pesos a month, right? Yep. The visa is like 2,000 pesos. So Yeah, you can leave. You can't go to the U.S. You may go to Mexico, then try to get out. But the visa is so expensive to get out. And that's a doctor. So think about these little shithole countries in Northern Africa. How do they get the visa? How do they get the plane ride to Mexico City? And then they got to get ferried up. And once they get there, then anybody just, hey, I'll give you a kidney. I don't know how they do it, but somebody's paying for it. But you've seen the buses down there in Panama. It'll be like EU, American flag, UNICEF, Catholic charities, Jewish charities, Protestant charities are all paying for all these people to come up and have lawyers with them.
Somebody had a comment in here. What are our pronouns? Mine is like angry veteran, disgruntled veteran, upset veteran. I don't know. I don't know if I have a pronoun. I just don't even. I don't even know.
Call me late for dinner. It's my pronoun.
Yeah. Let's see here. Somebody said I can't get service connected meds because they're too expensive. But if you want to lop your wiener off, no problem. That is not wrong. And the same guy, Heart of Man, had a question up there, or a comment up there earlier, saying if anybody wanted universal health care, ask any veteran about how that works out. What do you think about that with the VA taking care of all these people?
I would love somebody in Congress saying, here's what we're going to do it. I'm a firm believer that we should live by what the rules we make. I'm going to propose a bill that everybody in Congress, the Senate, the White House has to use the VA. Has to. Period. End of story.
Yeah.
And of course it'd go nowhere, but I'd like to see the response to that. Like, they're not covered under the Affordable Care Act. They're completely separate. And they said, because people will leave, and there's reasons why they could be, but like, if you look at the agencies not covered, and good luck Googling that and finding the agencies that aren't covered.
Oh, God.
It's not as easy as you think.
You'll never
I don't want
find
you to see, like, why is all the government not included, the federal government? I'm not talking the agencies now. I'm talking like the elected leaders. And you go, that's weird. Why aren't they?
Yeah, it is real strange how those terms get thrown around without anybody really, figuring things out. It's a very, very odd. Let's see here. I saw another good comment in here. Politicians should not be celebrities. When did politicians become celebrities? Do you remember a time when that happened? Because I think that's a great comment. Heart of Man. Politicians should not be celebrities. I don't really know when, but they are.
I think Clinton started it. He was an SNL with a saxophone. And that
he was on Arsenio Hall with a damn saxophone too.
Okay, Arsenio Hall. Bush was just a gaffe machine, And then Barack Obama, he was a celebrity. He was like the cool guy. He would have been on a cool cigarette ad if it was still okay. Like, he was the guy you'd be sitting there drinking smoking a cool with a nice Colt 45 or Old English. I mean, that would have been his shtick if they would have let him, because he was that kind of cool, sophisticated guy, and he really changed it a lot. That's how they sold him. I mean, that was his pitch. Like, he's like you.
Yeah, I think you're right though, and that's that's the other thing that I find a conundrum. Biden wants to get rid of menthol cigarettes. Barack Obama smoked cool Filter Kings. That's what he smokes. I know that for a fact. So how does that sit with the black community? Because, I mean, black Americans smoke menthol cigarettes. That's not me being racist. That is me used to work in a convenience store. Whenever I used to work in a convenience store prior to the Navy.
What next? What, a wintergreen skull? I mean, where does this stupidness end? I mean, it becomes, I don't know. You can't protect people from themselves.
Yeah. It is really strange.
Fools or just vape instead. Get rid of big tobacco in Virginia. Now everybody vapes instead. Some from Indian tobacco or Afghanistan tobacco.
Yeah.
Nicotine. That makes sense.
Yeah. The government trying to play daycare, it really bothers me, Let's see. Calanon's got a good comment here. If this was an invasion of big-breasted, fat butt, reproduction-ready Latino women, no Democrat would be against building the border wall.
God.
That's probably not wrong.
If we had Brazilians from 18 to 25 coming across in waves, women, they'd be like, you need to put that wall up immediately.
Immediately.
Get them out of here.
Immediately. Yeah. We can't have any what's her name, Vergara, forget her name, the real hot Latino. We can't have that. We cannot have.
Absolutely not.
No, we can't have that. That's exactly right. I mean, it is strange, that dynamic. Did you see, I don't know if you saw the clip of Vivek at a town hall in Iowa, and this transgender lady, maybe lesbian, got up and gave him the bird and started ripping him. And then he like flipped the script. And before she left, she gave him a hug and understood where he was coming from. And I don't know. I don't know how Vivek does that. I really wish that somebody would flip the script on this border wall, but I don't know if it's going to happen.
Here's
I really
the thing.
don't.
If you're in Mexico and you staying in Baja, you have buy a place which you can't buy as a U.S. citizen. You buy through an entity. It's not just like you buy property like you can here.
Yeah,
it wasn't that way forever. You go stay there. You overextend your visa. They come get you, kick you out of the country. You're not just staying in Mexico. You can't go the other way and say, you know what, I'm staying here on welfare, food stamps, I'm on free healthcare. They'd be like, no, gringo, get out. It just doesn't work that way. You stay in Costa Rica, your 6 months is up, you got to go across the border for a day, come back to Costa Rica. You just can't stay. You just go, I'm just going to stay. And that's when somebody's got money. Now, if you got FU money, you can figure that part out. But if you got normal money, you got to leave.
Yeah.
Unless you got, work visa and you got somebody sponsoring you, it's not easy. But somehow or the other here, it's just like, whatever. They're, immigrants, they're migrants that are suffering. I'm like, okay, I said this before. Maybe I said it local. I can't remember. But the dog situation. Like, I love dogs. I said I'm a dog lover. I got 4 dogs. I can't afford 10 dogs. I can't feed them all. That's just the most basic thing in the world. Like, I may love dogs, be a dog nut. But if you keep doing that, you become a hoarder. Your place is disgusting. Yep. Enter America 2024.
That's right. Yep. Somebody's got a comment here, and I got to watch this movie. It's gotten a lot of traction. I haven't seen it yet. It says, if you want to see the next plan, watch the movie Leave the World Behind, which was produced by Barack and Big Mike Obama. And I need to watch this. I need to watch the movie. I haven't seen it yet.
I mean, here's the thing. So you went to law school. You've been in politics your whole life, both of them, right? How do you just produce movies?
I don't know.
Like they put your name on there, so they cut you a big check.
Yeah, they just they use your name.
I've known people that are involved in Hollywood and producers and DPs and stuff, and not the sexual type. It's a lot of something there to it. Like, you have to do something. It's more than just I put my name on producer. I'm like, what?
Yeah, they're just using that name. Use the Obama name. Yeah. Well, I tell you what, guys, gals, girls, a little over an hour. And if you want to follow us on Locals, follow us on Rumble, also on Facebook. We get on here a couple times a week. We don't really talk too much during the week. And we just kind of spitball what's going on, and we see it from different perspectives. JT's over on the East Coast. I'm in one of the flyover states with right now one of the best governors, Sarah Sanders. She kicked the Chinese out. And it's very interesting to see different perspectives and get different ideas. And JT says stuff, and I'm like, man, what the hell was that? Or how did I miss that? And I'm sure I do the same damn thing. And it's good to have people in the chat. We both got our own individual channels, but we're running Pogey Bait together, and it's just a conglomeration of basically anti-mainstream news and just seeing it from a perspective. 2 dudes with ball caps,
I mean, if they came on, the mainstream news came out the headline, an analysis, and I thought, okay, this makes sense to the average person that works at Appalachia Power here, and the wife works at a nursing home. Okay. And I talk to them. I go, well, it's pretty fair analysis. I'm not pro-American. If you say you're pro-American, what are you, white nationalist? No. I live in America. What other country would be pro if it's not America?
Yeah.
I'd be out of my mind. If I went to Germany and said, or went to Mexico and said, are you pro-Panama? They'd go, no, I live in Mexico. I like Panamanians. We get along. But I love my country.
Yeah.
But yet, somehow or the other, in America, it never was to me a white country. In other words, I knew had people that are black, Hispanic, primarily white, but I had friends of all types. Somebody sports, all sorts of people involved.
I got some mixed race family,
And then went in the military. You know how it is. You get stuck with people who are like, wow, I'll never be friends with this guy, but you become best buddies because you're stuck on deployment, you're on a ship or whatever.
Yep.
And that was America. But now we've separated people in little groups, and we're like, well, oh, I'm black, and you subjugated me when I was younger, and your family.
Yeah.
I'm like, my family wasn't even here, weirdo. What are you talking about? We're both poor. We live next door to each other. And as long as people take that bait, you know, and if the people that were trans, like the Vivek example, and I'll stop. If they came up and said, you know what, I saw your videos, I'm trans, I'm so happy. 10 years later, I'd go, you know, what about your friends? Oh, yeah, they talk nothing. That was all they said is I'm trans. I go, okay. And they were happy. I go, you know what, I'm really happy for you. Like, that makes me happy to see you're happy. Like, it gives me as a human, but I'm not seeing that. I just hear complaining. When they get into intersectionality, which is all, you just look it up. Look at Saul Alinsky. It's all Marxism. You just go, wow, these people just are brainwashed. They don't even understand what they're saying. So it's not Marxism for them. It's just another victim point. And at some point, every group, instead of having 100,000 people, it's going to be groups of one.
Yep.
So everybody's a victim. I'm like, we all these victims. I mean, you
I
can't keep narrowing groups down
until
to
Biden
people.
told me I wasn't black because I wouldn't vote for him. You know, I always thought I was black. I was a poor black child.
Yeah.
You know,
well, why not? You ain't black.
I'm a black transgender lesbian now, you know, still not voting for Biden, but you know, hey, it's just what it is. Well, I'm going to get out of here. I think it's time to go. JT, you take care. Have a good night, and see everybody else down the week.
All right, stand by. We'll see you.
Let's see.